And we are back with another episode of Crowdfundr Thunder. I am your host, Leon Barillaro, and I am joined today by Jess Marcrum. Hey, Jess, how's it going?
Hey, happy to be here.
I am so... Oh my gosh, that's the chat. Wow, okay. Very interesting restream. I was like, what is happening? And it looks like restream had interpreted your emoji
Yeah,
on the screen.
that's what they're called.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's the chat. Okay, sorry. Hello. Before we get started, and I continue to be incredibly impressed by what Restream is doing. I would like to welcome everyone in chat to the episode and say that this episode, our partner is the incredible Pandian Games, and thanks to Andy of Pandian Games, whom you will hear from later in this episode, our prize for this giveaway is a Dungeon Year Journal. So if you want to go ahead and type in !giveaway, you will be automatically entered to win a journal from the Dungeon Year Journal from Pandian Games, which Pandian Games is a game nestled in the southern foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains with a focus on non-violent game, collaborative storytelling, world building with everyone at the table. You can learn more at pandiangames.com. Okay, so Jess, welcome to Crowdfundr Thunder. Thank you so much for being here, and I would love to get started by hearing a little bit about your project. Oops, all Draculas.
I'm muted. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Tell me, what do you want to know about it? It's a game where it's a tabletop role-playing game, as I think everyone on Tabletop Nonstop is, where you all play a different type of Dracula or vampire, and you all live in a little community dwelling together and support and annoy each other and deal with threats, both magical and mundane, from werewolves and other vampires to the HOA and the PTA and neighborhood kids.
Oh my gosh, that is right. Especially since one of my favorite shows of all time is What We Do in the Shadows. So this is right up my alley. What kind of Dracula can I be, Jess?
So there's 5 types, and the reason there's 5 is because I originally wrote this simultaneously for it was based on The Coven at the End of the Lane, which was written for Rainbow Jam, where they had 5 you got a bonus or something if you used 5 in there. So, and the theme was togetherness. So there's 5 archetypes. The Coven at the End of the Lane is about witches. And then I made a new version for Dracula Jam, which, is about Draculas. So there is the aristocrat, who is kind of who you think of when you think of Dracula. That's your, if you're thinking of What We Do in the Shadows, that's your Viago the Poker. Then you have let me pull it up actually, because I get nervous and I forget what I literally wrote, and I'm trying to do it in alphabetical order.
Well, if you like, we can pull up. Do you have it on your campaign page?
Oh yeah, you can do that too. And you have the Innocuous, who is very much based on Claudia from Interview with the Vampire, but that's become its own trope, right? You've got Shori in Fledgling, Babette from Skyrim, Let the Right One In. Basically any ruthless child vampire. Or They don't necessarily have to be a child if your players are nervous about playing as, undead children, but someone who is a lot deadlier than they seem and needs someone else to help them survive in Dracula world or the real world. Then you've got your Nosferatu, who of course is based on actual Nosferatu. They usually are, your bald, live in the sewer, bat ears vampires like Baron Aphanis or Peter from What We Do in the Shadows, the Unseen Elder from Witcher 3, the ones who aren't big on talking.
The guy who keeps turning off the lights in SpongeBob. Yeah. I've heard of Nosferatu.
Yeah. The window. You've got your Sentimentalist, which is your nearly all of Anne Rice's other vampires. Very much your Louis de Pontulac.
Aha.
This is your Edward Cullen. This is your Angel from Buffy. This is Only Lovers Left Alive, Adam and Eve. This is very much your vampire who regrets being a vampire. They yearn for their humanity. They want to see the beauty in things. If you are used to Vampire the Masquerade, these are your Toreadors. And then lastly, and I realized when I was putting in cultural references for this, just how very 90s to early 2000s this is. It seemed to only live in that time period and then vanished, is the techno vampire, who is your party hard and wear black leather, listen to very loud music, and go to war with other beasts of the night vampires. So, it's the Lost Boys. It's all of everyone that Blade fights. It's the underworld vampires. It's if they're wearing leather and they've got a big axe, that's them.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that there were so many Draculas. Do you have a favorite Dracula that you like to play when you play Oops All Draculas?
Oh gosh. I really love all of them. I think when I've run it, though, I have seen very funny things done with the Sentimentalist, because part of the Sentimentalist thing is that they have to have a human who is their mortal muse, who attaches them to the current world. And who people choose for their mortal muse always cracks me up, because you think of it as being someone who's like a great artist or a great poet. And I've had players who are like, I have chosen the Amazon delivery man. So my Dracula will just order packages all of the time so that I can see him. Or I have chosen this shift worker in the neighborhood, or like a Uber driver that I had once. So I just call Uber all of the time and hope that I get Jeff from Uber.
Wow.
And that's just very fun for me to see the pining of the Sentimentalist.
That's so splendid. And I like that is one of my favorite vampire tropes, I think, of even though they've seen everything, and yet sometimes the weird mundane stuff that we as humans do is something that they just get so stuck on. So I'm gonna keep calling Uber so I can see this one person is very, very funny to me. So I'm gonna bring your campaign back up because there are no rules.
Do it. We're almost
giving a
halfway.
I'm giving poor producer Damon a run for his money, just clicking on him catch up. But halfway funded, which is excellent. And folks, if you are excited about the prospect of being a Dracula, definitely head on over to crowdfundr.com/oops all Draculas. But I really, really want attention to, all of the art, but this cover piece made me gasp out loud the first time I saw it. I love all of the art and the line, everything that you have included in this this book is just
I got incredibly lucky with the artist who agreed to work with me on this, because if you saw the original version of this that was available on Itch for a while, it was all either stock art or public domain art from like sketches from 200 years ago, which is fun. I still used those for, the rewards. So you'll see like the Varney the Vampire cover was used for the early bird PDF. The Oops All PDF is from Carmilla and stuff like that. But that was what all of the art looked like. And that cover art's by Katakemi, who I met working on Uncaged Goddesses, and she's a joy to work with and so talented. And the character sheets, actually, Saga Mackenzie did those, and she was doing them as a warm-up or an exercise just on her own for a while, and was showing them to me and was like, hey, look at this thing that I did for your game, like for fun. And after she did her second or third, I was like, okay, you're kind of giving me the kick I need to publish this and update the art. So can I give you money to just do the rest of them? And yeah, she was fantastic to work with. And then the other artists are Natasha
these character sheets
Montford,
gorgeous.
Theo Lejoie, and I just noticed his name is spelled wrong in the credits, so I need to fix that. And the layout, which is by David Marcuski, who David is just brilliant to work with, and it's so good. I got really lucky with this one. I just put out a call and asked, who likes to work in black and white, either pen and ink drawings or, black, white, and grayscale paintings, and is interested in drawing vampires, animals, and or architecture, and got so many people who responded. And I wanted to reach out to all of the people that I couldn't hire because there were so many I wanted to. My partner was in the hospital at the time, so I was like, I just need to hit these people and hire them now. So I very much apologize if you applied and I did not get back to you. That was on me. But I'm very lucky with the people I did get.
Oh, yeah. No, the everything campaign page and all the art you've shown off is absolutely gorgeous. But how has the crowdfund been? This is, I believe, your first time crowdfunding, yes?
Yeah, I've been a writer in a lot of crowdfunded campaigns, but this is my first time running my own crowdfunded campaign. So it was pretty daunting, but I love how much you and the other crowdfunded team have made it so much easier than it might have been.
I'm happy we could help.
And yeah. Also, I was really lucky before this to get to take part in the tabletop mentorship program, and I was partnered with Heather O'Neill from Ninth Level Games, and I just wanted to learn about crowdfunding for Unseelie Studios, a company that I co-own, and we're going to be launching a campaign later this year. So I was mostly working with her on that, which is going to be a much bigger thing. But I took everything she gave me and all the spreadsheets and all of that information and got to apply it to this, which was very, very helpul.
Yeah, that's great.
That was fantastic. I'm so grateful to her.
Wow, shout out. Knowing that you and Unseelie Studios, which, by the way, I'm constantly making the eyes emoji at what you and Unseelie Studios are talking about on your Twitter. I would say that as, my first crowdfunding experience in November was TTRPG crowdfunding experience was a huge learning experience for me personally. And so, for folks who might be interested in chat in, learning about crowdfunding, is there a lesson that you think you would take from this process to what Unseelie Studios is going to be doing down the road?
Oh, well, I feel like, yes. Make sure you've double and triple checked everything before you send it out, because I initially had sent out in my thank you email for the first 10 backers, got their confirmation with an email that said, "Just change this later." So
I love that.
in all caps. Yeah, so check that.
I think a gaff from the creator is its own reward. You know what? You're welcome.
Right. So I sent a quick update that was like, I'm so sorry, but also, yay, you got to see the interior of how I work. So it was something I had to fill out the reward in total, but I didn't know what I wanted to write there, and I just needed to get the reward up. So I was like, change this later for all of them. And then, I didn't do that. So check that. Learn from me. And I had a lot of people look over my page before I launched it. And a couple who almost notoriously back way too many crowdfunded things, and asked them, like, would you back this? Why not? And what would you like to see on it as somebody who backs a lot of zines? And getting their input was fantastic, because I realized I was missing the what do you do in this game? Because I'm so familiar with the game. I was just like, yeah, you're Draculas. Here's the character classes. It's a D6 dice pool game. So just that's what it is. And they were like, right, but I need to know, like, I am X doing Y. And yeah, you link to an actual play, but like, what am I actually doing? And I felt so like, oh, stupid. Because that's what I look for in pitches. I look for that when I look at crowdfunding stuff. But I was just too close to my own game to realize that I hadn't put that in there. Because I was like, yeah, you know this game as well as I do.
Yeah, that's a really, really good piece of advice, because, I feel like I see that a lot in descriptions of, like, there's a lot paid attention to who you can be and what tools you're going to need to play the game, which are very important things to include. And I definitely think, like, who you can be is a huge selling point for games, especially a game like Oops All Draculas, where you can be so many Draculas. But yeah, no, like, what do you do is also a really, really, especially for a game, games have objects typically. And so, that's a really, really great piece of advice. Well, Jess,
part of me is like, you can do whatever you want. It's a game, but like, really,
yeah, the game. It's a game about nothing. It's a Seinfeld game.
Right? You're just Dracula and you live your unlife and hang out in your house.
And like, what else do you have to do anything? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're almost out of time for your segment. So I would like, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
We did have 69 backers today, so that was nice. We're at 70. I would love to get halfway. I would love to get halfway funded by the end of the week. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it sure would be cool if it did. And I would love to unlock at least the first stretch goal, because Zan Larson, who is in chat as Pale White Rabbit over on my channel, is going to do some art if we get that stretch goal.
Ooh, I love Zan's art. So
yeah,
chat, if you are reading this or listening to this right now, you had better get over to the Oops All Draculas page and back, because I need to see some Zan art, like fan art but cooler, in the game. So Jess, thank you so much for being on today. Folks, stick around, because in a few minutes we will be on with the next guest.